My name is Avi Constantinides, and I am the co-founder and director of the LA School of Homeopathy. Now, some people might wonder what really brings someone to homeopathy. My story is a little different than some other homeopaths that I know, as well as some of our other teachers. I am originally from England. You might be able to tell that from my accent still. And for a few years, I actually did live in Southern Africa. And while I was there, I was very intrigued what the locals did when they fell ill. So I decided to go see a Sangoma, which is a natural healer there. And while I was there, I was talking to his wife outside of his mud hut that was really off of a dirt road in the heart of the bush in Africa. And I just had this epiphany while I was standing there that things in Mother Nature help heal all ails. And that was really my first thought into alternative medicine.
Hi, my name is Nira Jaggerwal. I'm a first-year student at the Los Angeles School of Homeopathy. My grandfather sparked my interest in homeopathy. He was born in 1892 and lived in a small town of 6,000 people in India. After his 4-year-old daughter died of smallpox, he dedicated his life to healing his family and the community with homeopathy. At that time, there was no vaccine for smallpox. Whenever I met him or spoke with him, he would always include in his conversation 3 things. First, he would always tell me, learn to heal people with homeopathy. Include the poor, even if they cannot afford treatment. The second thing he would tell me was open your own homeopathic clinic so that you can afford a living and provide for your family. And the third thing was teach homeopathy to as many people as you can. Spread the knowledge. It's a gift to us. All the town residents named a street after him, and many of them dedicated stories of his influence, which got published in a book in the local language. I have a copy of that book here. That's my grandfather on the cover page. That's a zoomed in picture of him. And as you can see, most of the stories are in the local language. I played a lot with my grandfather, and I have a lot of fond memories of him. I was thrilled to find out that there's a school so close to where I live. I reached out to Avi. I was ready to embark on my journey of homeopathy and to carry my grandfather's legacy forward.
Hi everyone, my name is Gabriel Troub. I'm a classical homeopath and I've been teaching homeopathy for almost 20 years. And I want to share how I came to homeopathy. My brother had a severe anaphylactic reaction and died. And another brother of mine had a similar reaction, but he was luckily resuscitated by paramedics. And after that experience, my parents wanted to find a different way. They were looking for a safer form of medicine. And so they started taking us to homeopaths from when I was a very young age. I grew up with homeopathy. It was the norm for me. It wasn't anything weird or different. It's, that's something that my family did, is we went to see homeopaths. And we would use homeopathy as our first line of defense. So if anybody in the family got sick, we would try homeopathy first. There's a lot of doctors in my family, so of course Western medicine wasn't something that was outside the realm of possibility for us, but we would try homeopathy first.
My name is Angela. I am currently a student of the LA School of Homeopathy. Now, what brought me to homeopathy? So to cut a long story short, I'm sure as many of you have experienced, we don't always have success with allopathic medicine, and exactly what my experiences were. So in my very early 20s, I remember going to a female doctor, MD at the time. The medication I was prescribed didn't really make sense to me. Even then, being that young, I just knew that, a 5-minute consultation, basically she hardly listened to what the symptoms were, and that was just give me a prescription and off to the pharmacist I go. And the very next weekend, I arrived at a friend's house and he had exactly the same medication. So I asked him about the doctor, and he said, yeah, he goes to the same practitioner, and we had completely different symptoms. It was not related at all. So that gave me pause, and I started becoming a little bit skeptical. And that always there's a saying, if the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I really do believe that, because in the following weeks, I met someone who swore by homeopathy, took myself off to the homeopath. And for me, it was a very interesting experience going from a 5-minute interview with an MD to a 2-hour interview with this wonderful woman that really took an interest in my life. You know, the details she asked to share. She prescribed a remedy, instructed me how to take this. She was a classical homeopath. And within a few days, I started sleeping. I started going to the restroom. You know, and that for me was enough to know that this was going to be the road forward for me. I think at that stage, I never visited another MD again. What I didn't even realize in this time when I shared this with my mom, that I'm actually starting to become a homeopath, she alerted me to the fact that my grandmother was a herbalist. And from the youngest age, I used to work in her little clinic, chopping up herbs and leaves and all these things. And I'd completely forgotten about that because I was so young. So it's just incredible how it's come full circle. And hopefully I'll be that person again, and go into private practice. And yeah.
Hi, my name is Bara Waters, and I'm a master homeopath. I've been involved with homeopathy for more than 30 years, actually, at this point. And it's been a joy of a journey, and it has made an immeasurable difference in my life, in the life of my family, and of course, the lives of people that I've treated along the way and those that I have worked with in an education setting like LASH. What brought me to homeopathy originally was a very intractable case of chronic fatigue syndrome. I was young and recently married, and was, you know, after our honeymoon and everything and settling into married life, and suddenly found myself not feeling well, and never getting better. I'd always been a person who was very active and energetic previously, so this really became a cause of concern. I began to seek out different methods and alternative methods and found certain things that did help somewhat, but never that magic solution. Until finally I met a friend who was British, and he said to me, well, why haven't you tried homeopathy? And I thought, I don't know, probably because I haven't heard of homeopathy. So he actually referred me to a homeopath. I was living in Los Angeles at the time, and I went to see that homeopath, and within 3 months of treatment, I was cured. And I couldn't believe actually something so easy to implement in my life could cure me that dramatically, because I went from being very sick, unable to get out of bed about 3 or 4 days a week, to becoming an active, energetic, excited person again. And that was, you know, after 2 years of illness. So I felt like a miracle had happened. And when I experienced that miracle, I decided I had to study this and I had to find out more about it.
Hi, so my name is Monica. I grew up in Germany. And when I was about 3 years old, according to my mom, I kept having these recurring strep throats or something of that sort. After a couple of rounds of antibiotics, she was kind of concerned, so she actually found a homeopath. And we did this whole trek into town, and he gave me whatever he gave me, and no more strep throats. So that was, I guess, my first encounter with homeopathy. So later on, my mom found another homeopath, who we went to for diverse treatments, including my allergies that I developed at 12. And by age 17, maybe already 16, 17, 18, I was really infatuated with homeopathy. I had, when I was 18, I had a very bad kidney infection from a bladder infection. And homeopathy just took care of that within hours. So that definitely cemented my belief in homeopathy.
Hi, my name is Nadine. I'm a student of LASH in my 3rd and final year. And I'm here to tell you a little bit of the school and how I came to homeopathy myself. What brought me to homeopathy are my children. Back in the day when I was pregnant, I wanted to find a way to raise them healthier than I was raised. And I found a pediatrician who was also a homeopath and happened to be, I didn't know it at the time, at the board of our school. But so I witnessed what a difference homeopathy can make in children. My children, both now 10 and 6 years old, they never had real medicine or the need for real medicine. And it's fascinating, and it shows. I mean, they're healthy, vibrant. Things never became bad. And the more time passed, the more curious I became and was teaching myself about homeopathy. And then I figured, why not learn how to do it the real way?
Hi, so my name is Jo Daly, and I'm a teacher at the LASH School of Homeopathy. And what brought me to homeopathy in the first place was many years ago when I was a young mother and I had young children, and I lived as natural life as I could, and I was really concerned about not giving them all sorts of pharmaceutical medicines when they got all the illnesses and sicknesses that young children tend to get. So I started researching what I could do instead, and a friend of mine gave me a little book on homeopathy. And so it was a first aid book, just with a few indications for things that I could use on my children. So I started using it. And I found that when they got fevers or sore throats or little ear infections, these kind of things, that the homeopathic remedies worked wonderfully well. I was really impressed, and I didn't need to go to the doctor. So I just continued studying myself at home and had a couple of books that I used and a few remedies that I bought from the local pharmacy. This was in England. And I got to the point where I decided I was going to study, and there was a course that I could attend nearby. So I began to study more seriously, and still I was only studying with the idea of treating my family and friends. However, after about a month into the course, I was completely gripped with a passion for this science, art and science. I loved it so much because it just seemed to be the right thing on so many levels for my values, for what I innately felt health was about. And it treated the whole person, body, mind, and spirit, and in a way that was completely natural and non-toxic and in line with what the body is naturally and innately trying to do, to heal itself all the time with intelligence. So I was just bitten by homeopathy, and I have been that way ever since.
Hi, I'm Bhave. I'm a homeopathic practitioner in Los Angeles, California. I am practicing since 10 years in the US by itself. What brought me to homeopathy was when I was a kid, I was always given homeopathic medication by my grandfather. He was a voracious reader, and he took very keen interest in homeopathy. So we as kids, me and my brother, we as kids, we always received homeopathic medications for any acute problems or symptoms that we had. Later on, as I grew up older, I developed interest, a very keen interest in medical field, and that's how I sought admission into homeopathic medical school in India. And I studied homeopathy for 5.5 years, including 1 year residency at a hospital in India itself. So this is how I got into homeopathy. And once I started studying about fundamental principles and all the philosophy and all the science involved in homeopathy, I was intrigued, and I was blown away by the fundamental principles on which homeopathy is based. And I was totally into homeopathy. And since then, I decided, since when I learned about homeopathy in medical school, I just decided that I want to practice pure homeopathy. And since 10 years, I haven't looked back at all.
So at this time, I really see the new graduates who go out there as the new faces of homeopathy. And this is how homeopathy is going to carry on. It's how history will extend itself. Homeopathy has been around for 200 plus years, but especially in the United States, it was squashed for so many years that we really need to continue on and keep homeopathy here. The rest of the world, it is very well known. People know and understand homeopathy. There are a lot of schools, there are a lot of homeopaths, there are a lot of homeopathic pharmacies that have opened across the world. So we definitely need new faces in homeopathy. I am also part of a task force right now to help write the standards for homeopathic education, which I feel very, very passionate about. I think it's sad when someone does some weekend course that somebody is taught, you know, a homeopathic course, and now they call themselves a homeopath after, you know, just a weekend course. It is very frustrating for me to hear that type of thing. Someone, you know, passionate about education and being a director of a school as well. So we really want to put forth the best education we can. And every year we always review all of our curriculum. What can we do better? How can we be a school that has really the finest education that one can receive in homeopathy? And every year we just up the ante. We only teach homeopathy and we don't disintegrate into anything else. There are many other wonderful alternative medicines out there, but we don't teach any of those. We only focus on homeopathy. We teach homeopathy, we focus on homeopathy, and once someone is graduated, we love for them to go out and practice homeopathy, because that is our goal and that was our mission, Lewis and I. Our mission was to help educate homeopaths so that they can go out and help heal people in their local communities. Really, that's what sticks at the heart of my passion, and it's why I still do this today, since 2003.